female entrepreneurs turned besties share on life, business, and the journey through the mess. Join their community with every new episode for connection, education, a few laughs, and the hype energy like a bathroom full of drunk girls at a bar. It's okay.
We're your friends now!
Hey, it's Ashleigh.
Hey, y'all, it's Biz.
Hi, it's Katie.
We wanted to do a quick recap on what just happened.
What is life?
Because what is life truly? Honestly, I think this is selfishly for us, like digesting that intimate conversation. It was way more impactful than like I even expected, and I expected it to be so impactful. So
yeah,
I just keep.
Sorry.
No. Sorry. I just keep saying my brain is spaghetti.
Yeah. Well, I just keep thinking like this woman was already my role model. And then like being in the room with her like that, it was like magnetic. And so it's like now I have a feeling that I am chasing that I want to make sure that I can stay in.
That's such a good way to put it.
That
truly, I mean, she said so many great things, but it was the way she made us all feel that I was like, whoa, this is something I want to be able to do.
That's what I messaged. It's like my new life goal is to be able to, because we were all so strongly impacted by spending time with her and being in her presence. And I was like, my new goal isn't even measurable. It's just that like my presence can be that impactful.
Yeah.
Word. It's like people always, whenever I do like superpower quizzes or things like that, like people always talk about my energy. And I just was like, holy crap. Like that's like freaking Gohan right there. Energy. It's like Super Saiyan level all the time.
Should we talk about that real quick too? And I know we'll probably release this part later, but this was something, it wasn't even while we were recording the podcast. It was just Dianna being Dianna. And before we got started, she was sharing about protecting your energy and transfer of energy and the physical things she does, like keeping her hands together, keeping her hands by her side to hold her energy in so that she can use it when she needs to. And all of us sat there because we all talk with our hands a lot, and we weren't thinking about, that's why we're so exhausted after a day full of meetings or conversations, because we're literally giving our energy to people. And sometimes that's good. But it was so interesting to hear her say that and then observe. And it gave me such an appreciation for her time with us, because she was not conserving her energy with us. She was her hands were open to us and sending energy to us, and you could literally feel it.
What I took away from that was like the physical example for myself to be mindful, like the physical reminder. And I'm really looking forward to it, to like channeling that superpower. But it also, like when we saw her after we recorded, I went up to her and talked to her a little bit more and snapped that wicked awesome selfie. But she touched me while we were talking. She like reached out and touched my hand and like wanted to hold my hand while we were talking. And it was like the coolest compliment ever. After that, I was like, I will touch you in any way, shape, or form that I can. But like, it's really cool, like watching her as she was talking. Like I was paying attention because we recorded with her before she gave her keynote presentation. And so it was really cool to just watch that. I'm going to be mindful of that with other people that I look up to too. But my big thing, like all I really wanted was like physical, like action items, like real do this stuff. And so like that, oh God, that you're right, Katie. That was one of the greatest things ever.
So I know, like it was
what is life?
Do y'all want to share some of your biggest takeaways of like things she said?
Honestly, for me, one of the things that really stood out to me, and I think is so easy to forget, was when she mentioned that all those years ago when she first started in real estate, she had to go office to office to try and find one that would accept her because they had the rule where they were like, we only really have one woman allowed in the office.
Yeah.
And she said that to this day, she remembers those women's first and last names.
Yeah.
And at first you kind of think like, oh, because like she's still bitter about it or something like that. And instead it was that she wanted to know how they did it. And I think that one, that really framed what her mindset is. And that's how she approaches everything. And two, that we take it so for granted, the things that we can accomplish because of what other people have gone through 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Like, that's not very much time. And I'm one of those people that will joke about like, oh, I wish, I didn't have to work. I could just lounge around and eat bonbons. And that's the kind of life I'm built for. And it's just such a blessing to have the opportunities we have.
Yeah. And that's like what she was talking to too, right? Like changing. Oh my God. That's something I want y'all to hold me accountable to. And I am taking have to out of my vocabulary and replacing it with get to. I get to do this. And I'm really looking forward to that, how that's going to help reshape my brain, like writing that path. So, but you're right, Ashleigh, like it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible because we are so fortunate. We are so fortunate to get to hustle every day. We really are.
Yeah. And I know, Ashleigh, you made a Facebook post about it and it made me very emotional, as I'm sure is a surprise to nobody. But, people throw around the word like trailblazer, life changer so flippantly, I feel. And to be able to sit there and hear her story, which many of us have heard before, but to sit in front of her, hearing her tell us this and what she went through in order to do the things that she did so that others could do them. I mean, she really, this one single woman truly paid, I'm going to cry again. We know each other because of what this woman did.
Yeah. It's hardcore to think about.
Yeah.
Like the amount of impact she had because she didn't give up after being turned away from the first 5 offices.
Yeah, she would just
basically going bankrupt and having to start over from scratch. Like that was crazy to sit there and like be in front of her when she was talking about that stuff. Cause it's like, I don't know if somebody stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from me that I would ever be okay enough to talk about it.
Yeah, I know. I was
like,
so
you talk
tempted
about,
to ask her, like, are you still mad at that person? But I knew the answer was already going to be no.
Yeah. She failed forward through it, man. But I like love that God. And then when she was talking about the stress of having to always answer her phone.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like the strength it must have taken to do that. Like I instantly was like, because there are days like with me where it's like my phone lives on vibrate, like for like 3 years, because like the single sound of it would like, well, and I can't, like, she's just so cool. I know.
Yeah. That is, oh my gosh. I was dying. So I have done a lot with using sales scripts in real estate and learning and memorizing all of them. And I was dying when she said that Tony asked her to teach him scripts. And so she called him and it's just like, your price is too high. And he's just like, what? She's like, you'll never know scripts.
And hung up on him.
Like I love that so much. And that is like such a definition of what it means to commit to mastery, where if somebody woke you up like in the middle of the night and asked you to explain an FHA loan biz, like you could, because you're a master of what you do. And so I just love that.
Yeah. And Katie, along the lines of like what you were saying about us not knowing each other, I love how she goes, when I was a kid, nobody told me I could write my own story. Did anyone tell you? And all of us were like, you did. Like, what are you talking about? Not still you.
But think about that from the flip side of how, and I know she gets endless thank yous and everything, but think about that from the flip side. She's telling the story and she's sitting in front of 3 people and she's like, well, nobody told me I could do this. Did anybody tell you? And we tell her she's literally the reason. You know, and like how cool that, like how gratifying it just, I don't know, that had to feel so cool for her too. But it was really funny, all 3 of us in unison. Like,
In unison.
yes, yes,
Like,
it was
like
you.
a lull. And then we were like, I mean, are we gonna tell her?
Yeah.
I know. Katie, thank you for saying that, because I literally just keep thinking, like, what thing of value can I give this woman as like appreciation? You know, like how to, like, yeah, and
How do you say
like,
thank
what a
you
cool
for her
life for
gifts?
her. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so well deserved. I mean, good
So
God.
well deserved.
Oh,
Yeah.
so cool.
So I think one of my biggest things, there's a lot of tangible stuff, and it's interesting because I know all 3 of us have taken Bold, so we've heard most of her story before, but hearing it straight from her was so different. But and this, I hope this conveys through the podcast, because I know people listening weren't sitting in the room with us, but to be able to have that conversation intimately with the woman who really literally changed our lives in so many ways, and she will continue to. And so while there are really cool action items from it, and this is probably a teaser because I think we're going to do an episode on this. When she shares her, are y'all okay with me telling?
Oh yeah.
Okay. When she shares her story about her little red wagon and putting her kids in it and walking around because that was the only way through. And it made me think, and Biz, I think this is also like how we say thank you is we figure out what our little red wagon is and what are we doing to pave the future, right, for people who come after us, because she went before us and did so much. It's like hard to digest how much she did. And now we have the opportunity to have all those tools and opportunity that's now open to us to do really cool things for people in the future. And so that's been playing in my brain of like, I think a lot about what I do for my son, but what am I doing to help people who come after? How do I be the one who went before?
You know, yeah, I sit on that, right? Like remember from Her Best Life, the real selfishness is keeping your mouth quiet, like staying quiet. And I love in her like book, like the introduction to her book, she like talks about how someone called her out and it was like, so when are you going to write a book about this? And she feeling like convicted about it and doing it. And this whole book, I just am like, wow, like this book is so good. And I'm so glad she wrote it. It's going to be one that I like. I mean, I probably will go through and highlight in a different color the second time I read it. And I want to read it more than once a year. But that book, but then all of the value that she gives. And like, for me, you know, my whole safe to be seen, right? Like it can feel selfish sometimes, to want to talk or pour in or do that, to people without them expressly giving you permission. But I think a lot of times people don't know that what you can give them. I think. And like, that was a really cool room that I got to be in. And there was only 4 of us in there, you know? And so like, that means that only the 4 of us have that story to tell, you know? And so like, how selfish would I be if we didn't release this and we didn't do this recap, you know? And so like, I'm just so grateful for all of those things, because it like really sinks in that what we're doing is good, quote unquote, whatever good is. Yeah.
I think one of the things about Dianna's mentioned to like what she's been through and hearing her story in person is that at no point did she say, well, I couldn't fix everything. I couldn't make the world perfect. Like, she didn't try and set out to fix the entire existing number of problems with the world. She just did what she could. And
she adds value. That's what you said, right? Like every single day. And like, that's the cool thing too, because she really embodies that. And I love it. Did y'all see, like, she keeps this Rolodex in her phone of like value adds. Like, that is so cool. Like way to be organized. Like it was just, it's cool to see her systems. Like she didn't even talk about that, right? Like ever. But like, you know how organized she is to be able to be efficient with her time.
Right.
And because there's only so much. Oh, so cool.
Part of it is a gift to the people she is giving time to, because it is constrained. She has flights to get to her next event, and she has businesses she's running. So if she has 10 minutes to deliver something impactful to you, and she's having a brain fart because she hasn't eaten breakfast yet, she's hungry, and that's what she's thinking about. Well, she can just pull up in her notes or whatever it is that she's using as her system, say, oh yeah, here's like, this that would be relevant and helpful. Let me deliver this. That I'm sure it's a script that she's rehearsed, because she's Dianna.
Right.
And she knows what to say and how to say it. But she's truly thinking this is going to be better for other people. Like I truly think how she approaches everything.
Yeah.
And I love how she like talked about an inner circle, like that has defined for her. And that she failed forward through that, because like, that's another thing. Like, I don't know how to be anything but vulnerable. And it's really burned me at times in the past. Like, real talk. I had somebody steal stacks for me in a similar situation of Dianna. And I don't know, man. It's just, it was, like I said, I feel like I learned so much whenever I walked away and was processing, was like not so much what she really said, like her direct message, but was all of the little things that you pick up in there. And I love how she was so supportive of us, like our women friendships. And I mean, just frankly, I just fucking love the way she says friend. Listening back to it is so cute. But I love the way that she she encouraged us and like talked about how important it was for us to be doing what we're doing. And I believe that she genuinely likes this, and that is really cool.
Well, can you imagine if Dianna would have been going through what she went through with going office to office trying to find a place and feeling shut out from everywhere that she turned, and she had a group of women who were like, yeah, keep going, and here's how. I mean, so she does recognize the importance of it, and that's not to toot our own horn, but like she has a deep appreciation for women taking a stand for other women.
It's sincere, man.
Yeah, it is. And it also puts a like burden of responsibility on us. Not an unwelcome one. Like
no. Yeah.
But honestly,
I know.
It's like the idea of like, well, you should know your big why and your life's purpose. And sometimes it's really, really easy to get lost in like the selfish part of that. Like, well, my big why is, I want my kids to be able to go to school without having any debt, have life experiences I couldn't have. Like a lot of that drives people. And it sometimes is hard because then you look around at the world and you see all the problems and you can shut down. I know that happens to me where I'm like, capitalism is robbery. The system is broken and I can't do anything about it. And it like
feels
overwhelms
hopeless.
me. Yeah, helpless. And seeing her take on that attitude of just nothing is helpless because you can write your own story. And you're not out here to fix everything because nobody is perfect and nothing can be perfect. Right. We're just here to add value every single day. Yeah. And that gives me so much more energy than like, my kids can go to school without debt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love the way that she gave us the cancel that she does. Mm-hmm. And I love how like, I don't know, pure that is, that she uses the word cancel. Like, so what like you guys, well, y'all have heard the recording now, so you know what we're talking about. But that was like one of those action items that I was really glad that she gave me. And now I just hear cancel. And I love that that's a thing with us. Yeah. Like, that's almost, and that's like an inside joke almost, I think, with us now. Like cancel.
Yeah. I love seeing, people like John Maxwell, Dianna Kokoszka, like the big mega people that you can think of that will share their failures. They're so often like the past that it can feel very detached. And John Maxwell, during his keynote at this event we were at, mentioned, everybody wants to do what I do, but nobody wants to did what I did.
Yeah.
You got to do the did and did the do and all that.
Yeah.
But then Dianna gives us this moment of like, yes, I still struggle with people that want to tear me down or will be energy vampires. And like, it's just very live in the moment vulnerability, which is so rare, I feel like, to see. So hearing that she has that active mindset of cancel. It's
this is what I say instead.
I think it's so helpful because you can hear somebody's champion story, especially people like her who have gone on to have the success that she has. And it's easy to assume that they don't struggle anymore.
Right. Like, what problems do they possibly have? They are wealthy. Like John Maxwell probably took a private plane. Like, poor him with the fly to Dallas, but like he still probably has his own things. He had to go see the fjords of Norway.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But so I agree, Ashleigh, hearing her talk through how she handles those things was such a cool human moment, really, of like, it's like the celebrities, they're just like you. It's like Dianna.
You mean you go to the bathroom and cry? Like,
oh my God. She's talking about how she had to go hide in the pantry to eat crackers because she didn't want her kids to know like she didn't have enough money to feed everybody. And I'm like, oh my God, like that is something I don't talk about. I do not talk about the time that I didn't know if I was going to be able to make rent and feed my kids and myself. And so I was making decisions and choices. And obviously, because as Dianna said, you're a terrible person if you don't worry about your kids anymore. Obviously, you choose them. And so, I'm making my kids mac and cheese and letting them eat as much as they want of it. And then like my dinner was the leftovers out of there. And I'm like, oh my God, Dianna and I have something in common.
Oh, that's like so like, God, that's so resonates with her because she's like, that's her vulnerability, right? Like, and she's so comfortable talking about it. And so it gives you so much hope that you can get through whatever shit you're in to eventually like just keep going.
Yeah, because I think it's not that she's without struggle. It's that she's so crystal clear on she's decided how her mindset will be that when struggles happen, she has tools ready to combat them.
For real. I'm bringing a pen with me to the bathroom next time. I can't wait to flush
a Sharpie.
I had like a Sharpie. I had this like mental image though of like, those industrial toilets that just keep going and like putting the whole roll of toilet paper like and just sucking the whole roll down. Like that's all I could think of. I was like, God, my list. Like I don't know if there's a roll of toilet paper enough sometimes, like long enough for like when I'm in those moments where like I talk about, texting you, Katie or Ashleigh, and being like, hit me with an affirmation. Like it just was really cool because I mean, I do that, right? Like, I mean, the first thing is, I think the first step in my like growing through my anxiety is grabbing a buddy, right?
Yeah.
And that's where like texting you comes in. But it was so cool about the toilet paper because I know I want to do that for myself. Like I want to be able to fix my brain and my thought patterns on my own without needing somebody else. And I feel like that's the next step for me is to like really kind of pull myself out of those spots. So make sure I don't isolate y'all while I'm walking through this. So maybe hold me accountable. I guess the journaling and stuff, but I've journaled so much. Oh my God. I have journaled so much since meeting her too.
Good.
Yeah. I journaled for the first time in a long time.
Good for you. How do you feel? How do you feel about it?
It felt awful. I was sitting, I knew exactly what like journal prompt I needed to do. I've talked about it on a few episodes of just having been in like a rut for a really long time after like career-wise, just a lot of things blowing up for me. And I hid myself to protect myself. And I realized how much I've hurt my kids and my husband by having done that. and how much their lives have been impacted because of me not making the kind of money that I have the potential to make. I know I have the potential to make, and the kind of business I have the potential to run. And so my journal prompt was to write apology letters to each of them.
Oh, Ashleigh.
It was
pull that out of nowhere. That's an intense journal prompt. Golly.
Yeah, it sucked. It sucked hard. And it was something that I needed.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Me too.
That's a tough one. You know, the first time I journaled after like years of hiatus, it was really hard too. It was really hard. And honestly, that is some of my favorite journaling to go back and read. Have you reread them yet since you wrote them?
No, not yet.
It might be too soon. Yeah. But like, that's, man. And that was that notebook that I lost on the plane, and I freaked out because I was like,
yeah.
Like, I can't do these things without these words. I don't believe I said them. But yeah, man, good for you, Ashleigh. I don't know that I could do that. I really don't. I think that I would almost need to apologize to myself.
Cancel. You can do anything.
Yeah. Canceling myself from myself.
Yeah.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, friend.
So I think one of the other things, and Biz, I know this is on your list too, I'm obsessed with her and Tony asking questions to each other every week of what did I do that you hope I never stop doing, and what did I do that you hope I never do again? Because I know I've shared this before. I really think that it's such a strong sign of love and care when somebody will share with you like areas of improvement. And so I love that they have that structure for it, because that's something that like you're not saying it in the heat of the moment out of anger. You know, it's an open conversation where both people are very safe to say what they need to say and the other is receptive. And I think that that's such a cool way to grow together, coupled by the encouragement of like, you did this and I really loved it. And some weeks is probably really small things, but it's cool to take that time, because not only do you get to give appreciation to your partner, but it makes you stop and notice all the small things that they're doing. And I love their intentionality behind that.
Yeah. Because think about it, it makes you have to look for it during the week. You're like, I need to make sure I've got something to share that I like and something that I wish they wouldn't do. And so you're always looking for opportunities to have something to say. Hey, I really liked when you did this.
Yeah. It's the same as like when I go through a rut and I make myself do extra gratitudes at night, because I know during the day I'll have to keep an eye out for him, or else at the end of the day I'm going to be like, I'm not grateful for anything.
Yeah.
Today sucked. But I just kept thinking about like, what would that look like on a weekly scale of like, you'd be constantly one-upping yourself of like, oh, that's going to be my thing. Oh no, that's going to be my thing. And then you can't wait to tell them, because you're like, there's so much.
I actually told Jonathan about that this morning, and I think he needs a minute to think about it.
It's good, but it takes a lot, because you have to get to a place where you're both feeling safe enough to give that feedback and take that feedback. And that is scary vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah. But think about how cool it would be if you wrote them down every week, and then like in your annual review where you goal set together and stuff. Thanks, Wendy Papasan. You know, that you reflected on that. That'd be really cool. Yeah. I love journaling. I love writing stuff down now. It's so fun to go back and look at. It really is.
Yeah.
I've got some journals I was thinking about getting to reread. So I'm inspired to now.
Good. Good. So I'm going to bring up another thing from it that again was not aired. Maybe
one day.
Yeah. Once we wrapped, I thanked Dianna and I shared a little bit of my story. And we all know I'm a crier, and we all know that Dianna has made me cry a lot. And I made Dianna cry.
Yeah, you did.
Back.
I was like, I've never been more proud of my life. But it was it was also, and this is the part that I haven't shared with y'all, it was a cool moment for me, not just because of that, like that shared thing. But I almost didn't speak up because I've told her previously shortened versions of my story, and how she impacted me. And I was like, well, Diana's impacted probably everybody that's ever heard her story, heard of her, taken bold, met her. Like, who am I to, like, she's probably so sick of hearing this, or like, who am I to say something? You know, it's really important to me, but I'm just a person. And I was downplaying it so much in my head, but I had so much gratitude for her, and just sitting in the room with her, I was like, I can't not say this. And it was really validating that it impacted her like that, because I think it was a reminder of myself that, like, while we were sitting in this room being like, what is life? This is so cool. And the whole week was just cool, full experiences. I was still I was still minimizing myself, you know? And so to have her sit there and truly listen, and listen and let it impact her and stuff, was just a really good moment for me.
Yeah, like she was so open to your energy there too.
Yeah. In fact,
such an awesome example of that.
I texted one of my friends afterwards, and I said, I need to say something. I said, need to say something in a space where it doesn't sound egotistical. And he said, yep, you know, I'm here for that. I said, I'm important. People are connecting with me for me. I finally got the feeling that I truly believe I'm actually the future of something really massive. And he responded with, you are important, ho.
Thanks, friend.
Thanks, Kyle. But you know, it was just good.
Yeah, it's been very interesting because, well, obviously this has been super impactful on us, as Katie's saying. There's also this reciprocity of like, who were we to be in this position? And it really took us kind of stepping back and saying, we didn't luck into this, right? I think my favorite thing she said, and Biz, I know you love this too, I spell luck WORK.
Yeah.
Oh my God. When she said that, I was like, because I find myself all the time being like, oh, well, I'm just lucky, you know? All the time. Like, I think women love to do that, or we love to think that for other people, right? Like, it's such a cheap ass way of doing it. I just, like, when she said that, I was like, oh. And then I thought about it, and I was like, you know, like, what work went into that opportunity, you know? And like, you can,
do you want me to break it down for you?
Yeah, but you know, you can sit with anything that's really cool and think like, what work went into that. And that's something that's like a habit that I used to have years and years and years ago. It was like a game I would almost play with my anxiety of like, well, how did I end up in this situation? You know? But it was like positive situations. It's like retracing my steps. Like, who did I meet? What conversation did I have that led me to where I am? And I realized in that moment that I stopped doing that, and I diminished myself. And so that was so validating. God, that was so cool. Like, I'm so glad I was like, that and man, y'all, like, it was really, you know, Katie sharing a little bit about it. Like, I shared a little bit. I actually like bubbled up and couldn't help myself. It was like a geyser of emotion. But about where my heart is with my daughter. And, you know, I'm so glad that that we have that recording, because I'm so glad that y'all were in the room to like also hear those words, because it was like, I think one of the, you know, Ashleigh, you said it earlier, but like she said, if you don't hurt for your kids, no matter how old they are, you know, and that didn't sync with me the first time she said it. It was almost like kind of this flippant, like, I think she was just being nice to me because I was like losing my shit. right? Partially due to Katie just telling like the most amazing story herself and giving me the courage to speak up and seize the opportunity. And I'm so glad that I did. And it just was, y'all, it was so loving. It was so loving. I'm so glad that she writes. I'm so glad that she writes and that she talks. And man, God, I want to be her when I grow up. Like, man, y'all, I mean, like, whatever you think of her, like in reading, it's so much better. Like, it's so like, and you don't even know how it could be. Like, it's just so much better. Her physical energy, like the room, like the closest, it was like sitting in a room of like warm Jello that you could move around and still breathe. But like, it was just like, I felt it like the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, it was Katie's like dying. And then she knows exactly what I'm talking about, right?
For
like,
people that have never seen Dianna, she is what, 5 feet tall?
Maybe. Maybe. I don't even think she's that
thin. She is the tiny little person. And then there's just energy radiating from her.
Yeah.
It's wild to experience. Wild.
Like you talk about people's auras, right? And her aura is like, we were in that massive ballroom. There were 500 people there. And it's like we almost couldn't fit because her energy takes up all the space.
Oh, God, yeah.
But there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
I also think there's something so small that she said that has been on repeat in my head. Almost as like why is this sticking around? Why is this sticking around? Because it was so small. And we jokingly said, yeah, you're our friend now, since that's the name of the podcast. And she said, well, you were already my friends before you knew it because I just love everybody. And it seems like such a Dianna thing to say, to just be like, well, I love everybody. You know, the world is full of love. The reason it stuck around in my head is because she intentionally meets people and is actively searching for something to love about them that's unique to them. And what a cool way to live your life. Like, what a cool way to operate.
And such a different way to operate. I think it's so easy to always be looking for the things that are irritating you and the things you don't like, and how society is so like disappointing. But she is just, her mindset is just so strong that that's not the way she's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool.
It's so cool. Well, one of the things that she had talked about a little bit, and we are going to link the website for everybody. This is not a real estate only event. She is putting together a big event in Nashville, March 25th and the 26th, called More, which is maximize opportunities, relationships, and experiences. So tickets right now are $399. So they will go up February 15th, I think it is. Such an affordable event, and only 2 days. So you can fly in the morning, stay one night, fly out late the next day. So if you are trying to watch your 2024 budgets and P&Ls, this is probably one of the lowest cost events. The speaker lineup is crazy. Literally crazy. They've got John Maxwell.
I just want to get all my friends. And y'all like just think about who her friends are. Like, whoa, it's gonna be so cool.
So obviously, let me see if it will load right now. They've got John Maxwell. Obviously, Dianna Kokoszka is going to be there. Do you remember the names? There's one guy who climbed Mount Everest who's going to be there.
I have it. So we have Chad Hymas, I think. Amanda Holmes, who's author of Ultimate Sales Machine. She has coached like hundreds of people to double their sales quickly. Kane Minkus, he does all of the stuff with AI and tech. Tim Elmore, who
that's the guy from Italy coming over, right?
Leading and serving the no. He's doing the 5 generations in the workplace. Alex Harris, is How to Break Down the Impossible Till It's Possible. I think he's the guy from South Africa who like walked across South Africa to plant a South African flag on the South Pole or something, like something crazy. Dianna, John, Dan Stewart, Linda McKissick, and Mo Anderson.
And I think they have some other surprise speakers they're not announcing. So yeah, I am going to go. Yep. I was flying back from our Dianna Kokoszka interview, and I got the opportunity to volunteer to bump off my flight. And I was like, this looks like the universe saying, here is your free ticket to Nashville. So I jumped. I've never done it before in my life. I jumped up and said, I'll take it. So I will be there, and I want some friends to come along. Katie, I think you're going to go.
Yep, I'll be there.
I'm going. Fuck it. Let's go.
Going.
I'm pulling the
lever. You already have friends that are going to be there. I think you should come.
Come meet. Yeah, you can sit with us. We can have like a huge table of awesome.
Yeah. So we would love to see people there. It's going to be easily one of the best events of the year that you could possibly go to.
And it goes back to a really good cause. Dianna talked about it some. She has a cause that helps provide education and experiences to children to limit bullying, and that drops the suicide rates by I think she said 24%.
Yeah,
crazy amounts. So anti-bullying and suicide prevention cause. So on top of being able to learn so much and meet so many great people, you will also be giving value back to society and making the world a better place for those who are coming behind.
Well, and let's talk about how Dianna and her husband are paying for all the guest speakers to come in so that literally every ounce of profit, everything from ticket sales is going to this cause. Like their whole heart in this is to make people better while they're there. And then again, make the world better for the people who come after them. It's going to be unbelievable.
So crazy. Also, there is a VIP experience. It's not in my budget currently. It will be one day.
Yes.
And it looks so fun. So if you're going to buy the VIP experience, please let us know and then give us the entire
special guest to give us all FOMO.
We'll have you on as a podcast guest so that you can tell us all about what it was like.
Yeah, they have like surprise events.
3 surprise events in like one day. They don't tell you where you're going at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. And after reading her book about like working out with Navy SEALs, like low-key a little nervous about what some of these experiences may be.
Well,
at the same time, she says like bids do this. I mean, like, yes, ma'am. I'm like, okay, now
I'll jump. Cody Gibson did an event once, and I think our friend Becca went, and they all went skydiving at the end.
Something, yeah.
So that was like instantly what my mind went to. It was like everybody's skydiving.
It was like dinner at his house. It was like a mastermind dinner at his house or something. And then there was some surprise event. I was like, oh gosh. So, oh man. Well, I know we would love to hear everybody else's takeaways. For those of you who this is your first introduction to Dianna, I encourage you
You're welcome.
Enjoy having your life changed forever.
Check out her book, Becoming More. You can't get to better until you get to different. Read more about her. If there's a Keller Williams anywhere near you, ask when their next bold is. She wrote the course. It's been changed now. And it still contains a lot of the original stuff. It's not just for real estate people, but that was our first introduction to her, and massively life-changing, business-changing, everything. And go check out moretraining.com to see more information about her event.
And come join your friends.
Come join your friends.
Friends.
We're your friends now.
Awesome. Well, we hope that the Dianna Kokoszka interview was as impactful as possible, and that it has helped change your life and hopefully your day. And we look forward to having some more wonderful conversations. Thanks for listening, guys.
Do, do, do. Do, 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 do.